Okay, so we're talking about a taller hedging plant here. This is a Pittosporum. We've chosen the Silver Sheen. The other varieties have a duller leaf, and this one also tends to top out around the 2.5 metre mark, whereas some of the other ones were going up to 4 metres, which was going to shield too much and block out too much light for us. So the first thing I want to say when you're picking hedging plants and shield is really take the time to read the label, because it's going to tell you all sorts of things about the conditions that they'd like. So this one, you've got full sun, part shade, and the height up to 2 metres. And as I said, the other Pittosporum ones, the different varieties, were 3 metres and even 4 to 5 metres. So we picked one which suited us, and also some of them were wider. So they've got a good idea of their general growth habit, but all of them are prunable. As it says here, ideal for hedges. So you can prune it and shape it, and it even says that it likes it. Water moderately, so it's not going to need lots and lots of water. I'll get back to that, but as we've been digging the soil here, we're finding that it's very wet clay, so we're having to condition it in a certain way, in a special way, to make it still suitable. So here, an attractive evergreen shrub with small, dense, silvery green leaves and contrasting dark brownish black stems. Versatile shrub, ideal for screening, hedging, or as a backdrop to shrub beds. Now I'm just going to have a look over my fence here, because we've actually got some next door. Now again, having a look around what's growing, what's working well in the area, and what blends in with the area. There are houses that have got this going. I'm just going to poke over the fence here, and if you have a look up there past that trampoline, all those shrubs going around the fence and providing the screen are exactly the same as what we're putting in here. Obviously just smaller at this point, but as you can see, these ones are untrimmed, but they really have gone up over the fence and provided shielding and privacy. And that is exactly what we're after here. We have a bland piece of fence, and beyond it there's just houses, and it would be nice to get some privacy from here. So rather than putting up, a wooden panel like that, we're going to go for a natural hedge, which is going to be a whole lot prettier. So as I said, as we've been digging the soil, we've found just here is just clay, and you can actually wring that out. It's dried out pretty quick as we've dug it up, and it has been a bit wet lately, but we're having to dig a much bigger hole, and I'm providing outlets. So like this guy here is the one that we've finished, and on the downhill side, which is down here, I actually dug a big trench, which I then filled with soil. I dug all the clay out and took it away. Sorry, I didn't fill it with soil, I filled it with stones. So we've put in some more soil and a bit of potting mix, and we've put in, we'll show you later, some stuff to go in with the roots and the whole lot to give these plants their best possible chance, and a mulch. You see here is the soil that we've put them into. So basically like a huge pot we've made, but worked really hard at the drainage, so the water can get away. And continuing down the hill here, so the water doesn't sit here, because it doesn't like to be boggy with its roots wet all the time. And these are the guys that we bought. They're nothing of the size of those other ones, but they are well established. They're reaching halfway up the fence, so it won't take long until they're poking over the fence and starting to provide a good screen there. So as we prune these, we'll put some shape, pruning them back particularly this way. We don't want them to come out too far, but letting them espalier out over the fence to cover, that's fine. And obviously the height is what we're after in order to block that. So you can choose your plants according to what you want them to end up doing. So here with the soil preparation, this is where we've put a lot of time in. I'll dig this out even more yet. And then once we've dug it out to the size we're happy with, what I actually did was then loosened it all up again, and then I got these stones. This is just the aggregate off the top, and I mixed those in throughout the clay as well, and then I got the mattock and I mixed it through the stones and the clay to keep it broken up and its ability to drain. And then I got some potting mix, which is just really free draining soil or bark particles, and I mixed that in as well, so that once I had the hole big enough, I then created an extra space in there with a mixture of the clay, which had been broken up, and the potting mix, and some rock as well, so that it's a much more friable, free draining mix underneath, and And then, as I said, down the side, I dug a drain so that the water could get away. So it's not going to just fill up with water. And you can make it merry, merry, merry. But if you get a big rainstorm and it fills up with water, the plant will still die. So you've got to be able to make sure that the water can drain away. And this is what we started with over here. We scraped away the stones to start with. And under that, there was some like road base underneath that, and then it's clay. So it's not awesome to be planting plants into, but we're making the most of it, and I know these plants will do really well because of what we're putting in.
This is Osmocote. It's a controlled release fertilizer. Osmocote produce different controlled release fertilizers for different plants. This is a great one. As you'll notice, the top here, it's for garden beds. So it covers trees, shrub, fruit trees, natives, which is excellent. Flowering plants, and in the case of some trees we're planting at the moment, hedges. This particular product recommends that you put in a certain amount deep into the hole where you're putting the plant. It nourishes the roots, and then once we've planted the plant, we put just a little bit around the top and then add your seaweed. That helps the plant make its transition with minimal trauma and stress to the plant, and this sustains it as it begins to settle into its new location.
Here are the guys as they came in their pots. Remember, when you're looking at them in the nursery and in their pots, they're always going to end up a bit shorter, because like these were on a shelf which was about a foot or 30 odd centimetres up off the ground, plus then the height of the pot. So you get them in the ground, you can see there how high they look just sitting in their pots against the fence, almost to the top. And then once they're in the ground, they're considerably shorter. But anything that you can get out of a pot and into the ground is obviously going to do a whole lot better than something that's just left in the pot. So it won't dry out as quick, and it's got access to a whole lot more nutrients, and it can get its root system off and going. If you have a look at how much larger we've dug that hole. Now that's, as I said, dig it way, way bigger, and then I'm going to dig that out. I'm going to use the mattock or the pick and knock big holes in it, as in spear down holes so the water can drain away into that clay, and then mix the stone and all the rest. So I'll break up more. So where it's at now, that's as far as I'm going to lift out and actually shovel out. I'm going to replace all of that soil, break it up and put in the stone, potting mix and clay mix with what I break up, and then put the rest of it with some soil and potting mix, and I'm yet to dig a drain here so the water can get away. That's downhill down that way, so we'll make sure that this doesn't matter how big the pot is, if it doesn't have a way for the water to get out, it will flood and kill the plant. So it's very important that you work on the drainage so the water can get away always. Dig on that little drain extension down here. As you can see, as you break it, it's just wet. It's just totally saturated there. So that's why we need to make sure the water's got a way of getting away successfully. Give these plants their best chance. And we also are mounding them up. My wife made a brilliant suggestion, and we're mounding them up as well. So everything we can to give these guys their best chance to drain and do well. There we go. We're in. All nicely mounded up, and lots of good soil for them to dig down into. It's well drained now. The mulch, we're using the rock as a mulch, and that will actually, it's hiding the mounding, but that looks like it's in flat ground, but the rocks are quite a bit thinner where the soil is mounded up around them, getting it to the right height at the top of the root ball. So there we go. And they look really, really good. Just to give some more info, gypsum is an amazing product. It's mainly calcium, but you put it into clay soil, and it really, really breaks it up. It takes it from being like a wet clay you might even want to mold with your hands to it really breaks up the soil so the roots can get through it, water can get through it, worms can get through it, and it makes it very, very usable. Lots of different stuff available everywhere, but it's absolutely brilliant. And you can, anything that needs calcium, it's a great way of adding that in. But the main thing I'm talking about here is a clay breaker. You put it down, and it's just absolutely amazing the difference it'll make to break up the soil
and give your plants the very, very best chance